tubes instead of killing babies. How about that? How about that for an idea? Because I'm getting so sick and tired of all the backlash from this Roe v. Wade stuff, which, by the way, just to clarify again, does not remove the right for every person in the United States to have an abortion. It removes the fact that this was it means that now each state can decide for themselves what they want to do, which I think is great, because different people live differently, have different rights, and if we try and just say, oh, let's all go onto this side, then that means we're probably taking away from the rights on the people on the other side, and so on and so forth. But I have this to say to y'all. If you're so upset about being a childbearing person, as we call it now, because it's 2022 for flip's sake, right? If you're so upset about being a woman, if you hate having a womb so much, go and get your tubes tied. Go and get your tubes tied, because some of us take this stuff very seriously. It actually really pains me. You want to know about my feelings? You want to know about my rights? You want to know about how I feel and many other people out there? It is gut-wrenching. It is depressing. It is heartbreaking to see women treat children like this inconvenience. Like you can't close your legs, right? Like you can't close your legs. Like you can't have contraception, for flip's sake, in this day and age. So no, what you want to do instead is say, and don't even come to me with that, what about the people who've been raped? Okay, first of all, that's less than 5% of the number of people who are being aborted. I'll tell you that for one. Secondly, I actually have a friend who, her mum was, R-worded. What's the point of saying that now? I've already said the word. I have a friend who was R-worded, and her mum was R-worded, and she was the child of that. And so for her, she's like, and like for me, I'm like, look, this is one of the longest friends I've had in my life. We as women in society need to wake the flip up and stop acting so dumb and being so selfish, okay? You can have contraception. Contraception doesn't always work, baby. That's on you. Like, listen, the baby doesn't choose to be here. You choose to bring the baby here. And isn't it interesting how you're fighting for your rights? That kid doesn't even get to have a chance to have their rights fought for or to say their opinion. And because they're an inconvenience, you're not ready to have kids yet. Listen, tie your tubes. Tie your tubes. Bill Gates has convinced half of you that overpopulation is a problem anyway. Cut them off. Cut them off. Cut it out. Don't have kids. Just don't have kids. I honestly think here, if you as a woman do not see the honor and blessing it is for you to have a child, the honor and blessing and responsibility it is for you to bear that child and bring, I think we are freaking superheroes for that. Like, I think us as women is so cool. Like, this is why I love being a woman. I'm like, what? I can incubate a whole human being. Like, from them not existing to, like, they just exist now. Like, I'm like, what even is the point where the soul enters the baby? Like, obviously, it's just crazy, right? It's the most beautiful thing ever. And we have come to resent something that is so beautiful about us. If it bothers you that much, tie your tubes, baby girl. Trust me, because if that's your attitude, we don't need those genes continuing in the world anyway. Trust me, we don't. We don't. And if that's your attitude, woo, try and find you a good man. Try and find you a good man with that attitude. Because this is the things we don't think about. There's so many things I feel like in society that we do as women. So many bandwagons that we just hop on board. And they sound nice and they feel nice in the now. But in the long term, like, people don't talk about the connection between people getting abortions and the higher chances of getting endometriosis, which, oh, would you notice? Is it me or have we noticed that more women are getting endometriosis in the last couple of years? I've been noticing, wow, it's so much more common than it once was. Why do you think so many of these different things are becoming so much more common? Because we're doing things we don't understand. They don't tell us the consequences because they have their own reasons. Obviously, the scientists want the cells of the aborted baby, so they want to do experiments. I mean, all of these jabs and things that we take and a lot of the medicine stuff comes from them experimenting with aborted babies. That's why even when you go to the hospital, if your child potentially has disabilities and whatnot, and I heard some woman, I can't even remember, I can't even believe she was saying this about her own family member, and how hard it was for them to be disabled, and if they could have just spared their life if we had aborted them. Like, what kind of nonsense is that? What actual nonsense is that? How do you think that makes that person feel? As well, as if like, oh, you know what, we understand your life is hard. To be fair, if we could go back in time, we would have killed you. Like, what kind of evil is this that we live in today? Like, what kind of evil are we as women becoming? Like, I get it. There were so many things we needed to fight for rights for, and there were. Don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong, okay? But at this point, we've taken it too far. And if you're that upset, I'll just say, leave it at this for this video. If you're that upset about all of this stuff, like, it's not like you can't get an abortion. You guys are hilarious, by the way. Can I just tell you that in the Western world, go and see what weeks that people can't have abortions in, like, other places in Europe. People can only get abortions up to like 12 weeks in Europe, and you're upset because you can't kill a child when it could literally be prepared to be born. Like, at that point, if the child could be born at that point, how are we not seeing that as murder? How are we just convincing ourselves of fantasy? And this is the problem with us sometimes as women. This is how we support the people who are trying to force all these patriarchal ideals onto us. This is how we support them, because we say stuff that doesn't make sense, and then it makes people swing all the way to the other way, and then we shoot ourselves in the foot. How about, yeah, take a step back, think logically, close your legs, get some contraception, and if you're that concerned, if the child is that much of an inconvenience to you, right, and that's how you're looking at the child even now, tie up them tubes, baby. We don't need you having kids. Trust me, we don't, because those kids, we don't want them to end up coming into this world, then having issues because they've already got a spirit of rejection over them because they know that they weren't actually wanted, and blah, 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 blah. Tie up them tubes, baby girl. Tie up them tubes. That's all I gotta say. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Don't forget to subscribe and like the video. I know some of you are going to be so sad you can't spam that dislike button. Trust me, if you're able to, I would love for you to, because I'm just telling you the truth and I'm just keeping it real. And on that note, God bless every single one of you, and I'll see you in my next one. Goodbye.